Hello, everyone.
Hi,
My name is M9,
and I'm Nixie, and this
and this is Out of Character. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Out of Character. Nixie and I are going to be talking about a few things here. Nixie, how are you? How's
doing
everything?
pretty good. It's cold here.
Yeah,
I
I'm a little
hate it.
chilly. It's about
It's
30
getting warmer
degrees.
tomorrow, and I'm so excited. The windows will be open.
The windows are open, so is that door.
No, why would you do this to me? It's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the night. Why would you do this?
You did it to me first.
No. Okay, thanks. I'm gonna be seeing Frozen for a week.
So how's it going, everyone? I'm actually a little cold myself, but I was like laying down napping, so naturally like my defenses are down.
And you immediately sing Frozen. I mean, that's
Mhm.
we learned a lot about you today, haven't I?
Yeah. I should have gotten up early enough to make some coffee, something warm, but it's okay. It's okay. Here we are.
We are here, yes, and we're gonna talk about lots of fun things. No guests tonight, though.
No guests today, just Nixie and I hanging out, and we hope that you hang out with us. Just a couple of things to go over in the role playing community. But to start things off, we'll start things off in a good note. How's that?
We're gonna start with the light stuff, and then we'll really dig into the shit talk.
Yeah. So let's pretend to be optimistic here, and
I'm optimistic. I love drama.
right. Right. So, let's talk about we kind of hinted at this a little bit when talking to Stormy. Um, but I want to talk about the upcoming games that we think have some RP potential. Um, and we mentioned like Dune and Arc 2, and there is a lot of possibility for cool role play. Um, what do you think? Is there any other game that we haven't really discussed or talked about?
There's games that I wish would get their shit together to be better for roleplay,
Mm-hmm.
or would come out with the ability to roleplay on it, because I'm really stoked for Nightingale.
Yeah.
And it looks like it has base building and really cool things set up, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna have like private servers or much in the modability or stuff like that. It's gonna be more, I think, like Valheim was early on,
Yeah.
which I hope means that they'll eventually go, oh, we should allow private servers so that people can really dig into it, because it looks so cool.
Yeah, and
I don't know if you've seen a lot about Nightingale.
I haven't, but I also haven't seen a lot about a few of the other games like Dune as well. Like
Oh
we're
yeah,
all
I haven't
excited.
seen much about Dune.
I think
I
other
heard
than
about
the
it.
announcement and things like that, but I wonder what it's gonna be like as far as like private servers, mod
Is it
support.
from the creators of Conan?
Supposedly, yeah.
Because I think I've seen it on like the launcher, but
Mm-hmm.
there's obviously nothing there. It's just like, this is the game. But
Yeah. So at that
yeah,
point, it's like,
I
what
assume
do we
it's going to
expect?
be similar to Conan then, because it's from the same developers. It seems to be their bread and butter.
And yeah, like when you think about it, like some of the mechanics and things about Conan, even when you go out into like the desert area over in Conan, um,
Mhm.
that feels very Dune-ish.
And
um,
I think I
so
need to really actually learn about what Dune is about, because I have not watched or read anything.
oh my God, watch the movie.
Is that
Uh,
the newish one that came out?
you can watch the new one; it was really good, or you can watch the original. The new
I should
one
just read the books.
is split up. Oh yeah, you can read the book.
I'm a nerd.
Um,
I like reading.
nerd. Um,
Nerd.
you're like two traits away from being Ravenclaw. Um,
2 traits. What are those? Wait a second. Hold on. What are those 2 traits?
um, I don't know because like you could probably wake up one day and then like the Sorting Hat would be like, I think she's a Ravenclaw.
You know, I take those tests sometimes online that say, "What's your Hogwarts house?" And I once took one that almost perfectly split me between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I was like 50-50. Like,
I
I
always
had
get
0
split.
Slytherin, like 5% Gryffindor, and 50-50 Hufflepuff Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I'm always. I don't think I've never. I don't think I've ever been put into anything but Ravenclaw, but Slytherin comes close.
I don't have any Slytherin at all. No matter whenever I do it, it's like, no, you're not. You're not Slytherin quality. And I'm like, that's okay. I'll go have some butterbeer.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are you
Um.
gonna make butterbeer for Hogwarts Legacy?
Oh God.
Have you made that
I
before?
don't think I no. I've never
Oh,
made it.
it's so good.
I've only had it at the Universal Studios.
So you
Um.
can make it alcoholic
Oh God, I'm
by
gonna do that.
using butterscotch schnapps and
Right. Right.
cream
Right.
soda. It's so good.
I might make that. Anyway, oh, earlier
Anyway,
today,
sorry we got distracted.
no, while we're off topic already, earlier today,
This is what happens when
my
we don't have
my
the guest.
wife and I were talking back and forth. I literally took the time to sort everybody in my family
Oh my god.
into houses. Like she's like, okay, what about this person? I'm like, that person is definitely a Gryffindor. Like, it's like-
I will say everyone in my family are big Harry Potter nerds, so we all know our houses.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, yeah, not everybody that in my family, but I definitely took the time out to sort everyone. And I like to think that I am a pretty good sorting hat material.
You're just gonna straight up become the Sorting Hat.
Yeah, better be.
Why isn't there any Harry Potter roleplay? Like honestly,
So,
what? Why?
yeah, I don't know. I wish there was. I wish there was.
It's such a good setting. All you
Hmm.
have to do is not specifically make it about Hogwarts. You could have like the whole wizarding world if you wanted to.
Definitely, yeah.
Technically, my character I'm playing right now is from Harry Potter, and I was dropping hints about it. Like whenever she talks about sending ravens that other people talk about, she says owls. Uh,
Nice. I
I've
like that.
always been a witch. I went to boarding school. They kind of taught us about that shit. Like,
I mean, oh man, we've recently been we got completely off rail, but like Harry Potter
yeah,
comes to mention, and then we all kind of go to shit. But the
we're excited. Can you tell?
yeah, so excited about the game next week. Um, we've been binging all the movies as well. I think we're up to um, we just finished the Order of the Phoenix.
I'm trying to convince my boyfriend to let me read the books aloud to him, just because I
Oh,
love
really?
reading aloud and I love the books so
Okay,
much.
okay, okay. So this is this is roleplay related. Let's see. There was actually a mod for some game that HP. Oh, really?
I want to play.
That's interesting. There's mods for what the hell is this VR game called? Is it Blood and Sorcery or something like that?
Is that
Uh,
what it is?
it's basically just like a combat game. I don't even think it's multiplayer, but there are mods where you can put in wands and go through the maps and the challenges, basically being a wizard. I think I sent you a TikTok of a guy playing
I think you
Nyx.
did, yeah.
Yeah, the guy.
I look at a lot of your TikToks though. So
Yeah, no, I do be sending TikToks.
you also I just follow you on TikTok, so I'm like, oh hey, what's this?
More of a conversion mod. Yeah, you see,
I
I
wonder
think
what
that
game it was then.
there needs to be more of that type of thing
I
because
want
I
to
remember.
roleplay Harry Potter again.
I know, like I remember there was a thing for Star Wars for Arc, that
Hmm.
brought like starfighters in and like, um, and uh, you can dress up as stormtroopers and all this stuff, and it was really cool. But then again. Ark always has that bit of like immersion breaking thing with the dinosaurs, but um,
What? You don't have a problem with playing Game of Thrones when watching somebody gather stuff with on
no.
an Anki?
I know. I'm like, can we just have a horse only season, please? And then like
No.
last time we had a horse only season, I didn't play. So um,
Joeds and Ankies
Doeds and
always.
Yankees, yeah, and then kingdom specific mounts.
Yeah, where you can ride on the back of wolves and you can ride on the
Yeah.
back of, Rexes or whatever they give
But
people.
back to Dune. Don't know a lot about it. I am hoping that it has a lot of potential for RP,
Mm.
just because it'll be something different.
So we need something different
We
for the role
need
play
the RP
community.
community definitely needs something
We've
different.
stagnated so hard.
Yeah.
There's been nothing really like the whole community looked at and went, let's go there. And there's
Right.
like a pretty cohesive role play community, I feel like, even across games.
Yeah.
People within this group tend to know about the other groups and know that people are doing that kind of role play. And then I know that there's other groups of role players
Yeah.
who
Like the
aren't
weird
in the
VR
one we're
chat
talking
people.
about. Like there's the VR people. There's people who do it in like other games. There's the text only RPers.
Then there's the 5M people that aren't really RPers. Like
What? 5M's not really RP?
no, I don't mean to like classify them all together, but there is that group of like 5M people that are just like that they only do 5M, right? Like it's they're only wanting to be
Yeah.
gangs or police or whatever. So
And they don't really stretch outside of that.
Right.
They're 5M only. But but like people even and then they tend to know more. They know a little bit about the rest of the communities.
Mhm.
Because like people who play 5M know that Ark has roleplay on it. They know
Right, right,
Conan
right.
has roleplay on it. There's also like Oexo brought up Gary's mod. People in Gary's mod is its own community.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't mix with the ones we're talking about, unfortunately. I would love to get to if so you know anybody in those communities, fucking tell them to hit us up because I'd love to learn more about those.
Oh yeah,
roleplay.
I would definitely like to learn more about different aspects of the community. Things that we haven't really been exposed to or have any knowledge about. Like I know that there's a lot of people that are still doing like DayZ RP.
Oh yeah,
And that
I
type
saw
of thing.
something recently. People were gonna try and open up a DayZ RP server or something like that. And I was like, if people still do that?
Yeah, I was curious about it because I've been on this like zombie thing lately. I'm not sure why. I think it was
Because it's different.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think it was the desperation of needing something different.
It's the desperate. That is such a good word for when you don't have something like a role play that's what you're looking for. You get desperate.
Desperate, yeah. And so I was like, what is I even like launched Star Citizen, which I haven't played since like I first signed up for it a year or two ago. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any RP groups. And then I did RP on VR chat. I did Star
I've
Wars.
looked at it. The problem with VR chat is they're ridiculously insular. You have to
Yeah.
hit criteria in order to even join the worlds that they're role playing on.
Yeah, it's very it's not super inclusive or
No.
new player welcoming. Because I've tried and all these people that have their own avatars and this and
You have to.
Mhm.
A lot of them don't allow you to roleplay if you don't have your own like you've bought
Right.
avatar.
Mhm.
It has to be completely custom, otherwise
So-
they won't let you on their servers.
I joined a Star Wars RP thing, which was I actually had a lot of fun on, but I don't think that I could do it a lot because it just wasn't the amount of seriousness that I'm looking for. A lot of people
Not
were
the
just fucking
depth
around.
that we like to
Right.
play.
But it was like this whole thing where I was a new stormtrooper in training, and I was going through like a trial, and I had to do like an obstacle course and like combat training, and it was actually really fun. But then you have like a bunch of other people that are just fucking around, and I'm like, okay, I had fun this once. I don't think I can make this a
And
for
I
your
mean,
current
I
band?
used to be a part of the music people um on VR chat. I was actually
Hmm.
pretty heavily in with those guys. Because I played around a lot and I would perform in their talent shows that they put on. So I used to have a lot of friends on VR chat who were in that group.
Yeah.
And even then, they were kind of hard to get into. It was one of those you only really got in because you happened to run into the right person in the right room at the right time kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then they all fell apart and it was really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I feel like VR chat just doesn't have a good way for groups to advertise what they're doing or find them.
It's
You
difficult.
kind of
Yeah.
have
It's
to run
very.
into someone and know what
I've
who to
even looked
talk
through
to.
Reddit and stuff like that, and even some people on there will tell you that it's not easy to get into RP
Yeah.
groups, and
Which is
that's kind
sad
of a
because it'd
shame.
be so cool.
Yeah.
It would be awesome.
Speaking of, I was, I'm not sure how much. Well, I mean, I can't show anything because it's under NDA, um, but I'm pretty
Mm.
sure that I can just talk about it. There is, there's a game called Dungeon Full Dive, and this is for VR and for flat screens or pancake mode. And basically, what this game is going to be is something like Telspire or Roll20 or anything like that that allows you to play D&D or tabletop games. Um, and it was really cool. I tried it out. It needs a lot of work still, but it's still in alpha. Um, this game lets you. I played it in both VR and flat, and this game allows you to look down on a table like if you were playing on a tabletop, like in real life, and also jump into the point of view from a character and basically RP as your character. Um,
Mm.
and so, like, you can walk around, you can interact with items, you can actually go into taverns, walk around markets, or blah blah blah. And then when you jump in and out of what they called like immersive mode or meta mode or god mode,
You're
um,
kind of like looking down on the
you
map like
you're
a
looking
D&D
down.
table, or
Yeah, you're looking down at the table, and when you go back and forth, your position is updated too. Like if you're walking around as your character and then you jump out of the table, you see where your character was still left off. um
that's pretty neat.
and it's really cool. There's a really cool character creation. They're still working on it for you to make your character look as much as possible as you want it to.
Which
um
is so important
oh
these
yeah,
days. Like
definitely.
having character customization is so important.
Mm-hmm.
People, not even for role play, just in general, people want to make their characters look the way they want them to.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important aspects to a game, um,
Yeah,
is customizing a character, because you have those people that want to make a character look ridiculous, and you have those people that, want to make them look just like themselves, or,
which I am self-inserting so hard into Hogwarts Legacy.
yeah,
I
it
am
has to
making
be like a
myself. I
teenage
am
version
naming
of
it
you.
me. I am just that's me.
Yeah, I, I, um, I was debating with myself whether to like make it look like me or a younger version of me, because I don't think I would have had as a fifth year student like a full beard. Um
There are 15-year-olds with beards.
yeah, there,
Hey,
I mean,
15 you got. They're starting.
I know I had like a mustache, I had, something, but
Yeah,
um
like the really bad
it
mustaches.
wasn't fully developed.
Or like the really patchy beards that just
Hmm.
don't look good.
Yeah. No. And I think my beard started filling in the more that I shaved,
Yeah.
um, because of like the military and things like that. But I
Just
anyway,
get some really
back
like awesome mods for Hogwarts Legacy to add really shitty beards for the guy.
like I'm just gonna make my character look like a 34-year-old as a 50.
Oh, man.
But anyway, um so this game, I'm really excited about the potential of RPing and playing tabletop games in this. You have the ability to make maps and like battle maps and stuff, and
I've
the
been
D
getting into
the
math.
DM or GM can actually um take or possess over like NPCs as well, and give them a voice and
Uh,
act as them. So
that's cool.
that could
You
be
can like
really cool.
that's so immersive.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really fun.
So I've been back. I backed them on Kickstarter, and I got alpha access, and I tried it out, and that's something that I'm very excited about to see how that develops. And it could be
So
played in
like
on PC and in VR, but I'm way more excited about it in VR than anything.
so like when are you gonna start campaigning that when it comes out? Are you gonna like do that right away?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think I am.
Sweet.
But
Yeah.
yeah, God, there's
RP needs an update though.
yeah,
Back
we
around to
need.
the original point.
Yeah, we need other stuff, and I always keep coming back to Cyberpunk. I wish that there was like a 5M or Red M for Cyberpunk. Um,
Oh yeah.
Granted, we all know that that didn't happen overnight for either one of those games.
It took a long time.
It took a long time,
And a lot of people getting kicked out for
right?
like Rockstar saying you can't do that.
But how amazing would it be? How refreshing would it be?
It's needed right now. The RP community has definitely gotten to a point that we're like, we're still playing Conan. It's been 10 years. Like, can we
Right.
play something else?
Yeah, and you know
People are
what?
slowly
Why don't
moving away
we
from Ark, though.
let me get my wand. My wand was like falling off my desk. That'll naturally move us on to our next topic, which is the amount of servers that there is.
We've kind of been talking about that already, yeah.
Yeah, like so as you said, okay, oh my god, we're still playing Conan, we're still playing Ark. There's nothing new, right? But then there's the keyword again, desperation for something good, that servers are coming and going, and people are just hopping from one thing to another, just
I think I'm on like
needing
7 servers right now, just waiting,
Conan
looking
servers.
for a good one. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like there's so many. What like you jump right now because you're like looking for that thing that the RP that hits.
Yeah.
Because there is RP that some servers are just a little bit lighter in their communities. They're a little bit more silly. They're a little bit more, and maybe that's what you're looking for. That's great. You find a community like that, you stick with them. And then there's people who are like me, who I'm not a big fan of silly RP.
Right.
I really like to dig into story and make really
That's how I am as
serious things. Which currently I am playing a character like that. My group that I'm in is good for it, but I'm keeping open to other servers at the moment just because the rest
Keeping
of the
my
server.
options open.
I have joined every Conan server that I can find.
It's funny because I will refer back to a day that Nixie was so against playing Conan. But we've talked about that before. We don't have to talk about it now. But the fact that you are just looking for something to hold on to, just something.
Desperation, the keyword of the day. It's desperation.
Yeah.
I need something. I need the substance to sink my teeth into. My character right now is fine. I'm having fun with her. I just am missing some substance there.
And
that
you are
I'm
currently
like,
on.
I am on Lost Legends, Conan RP server.
Yeah.
I run a tavern over there. The problem is I decided to make a tavern on the same season. 7 other people decided to make a tavern.
Yeah, there's always a thing, right? That's like the prominent thing of a season.
Apparently, the season before, everyone was making healers and clinics, and there was like 7 of them. And now this season, there's none, but there's like 7 taverns. But yeah, I'm just kind of keeping my eyes on. But I guess that kind of leads into a transition for what we wanted to talk about today.
There is, yeah. And I think we might as well get into it, right? the the current state of RP, especially like in Conan, has not been going well, and that's why people are jumping from one thing to another. And then not just the quality of RP, you tend to run into drama.
And that's the other keyword of the day, drama. And why a server dies is another big thing. Drama and server death is so inherently linked across every game you can get roleplay on.
Everything. Yeah, just role playing period. Always comes with a grain of drama. And sometimes even more so. It's inevitable, unfortunately. Because if there's anything that we all are in this community, is we're all different personalities. And there's gonna be clashing a lot. There's different opinions, different styles, different personalities, like I said, and drama happens. And
people don't like each other, and some
Mhm.
people are a lot more vocal about not liking each other.
Right.
And sometimes they group up together and they not like other groups of people who have grouped up together, and then they start spatting at each other in character, and then it rolls out of character, and then
Yeah. And
or people
I've
don't like admin decisions, which
exactly,
is the big
and I
thing.
think that's a huge thing, right? Where we have our friends, right, in and out of RP, and sometimes we tend to either turn a blind eye, or like accept decisions that we normally wouldn't, or anything like that, right? Because it's like, okay, well, we have to be supportive, or I'm here
I
with
don't
my
want to
friends.
cause drama.
I don't want
I
to
don't
cause
want
drama.
to get
But
banned.
I think a lot of the times we end up kind of sacrificing some of our beliefs or morals, right? Because we don't always agree with certain things, especially when it comes to like admin decisions, or like I said, with friends, sometimes it comes off as like favoritism and things like that.
Oh, that's a big one.
And that kind of sucks, but it's another thing that you can file under inevitable.
Yes.
And we've seen that happen more than once, and we've seen it happen pretty recently, have we not?
Yes. Speaking of, we're gonna transition us again into the favoritism is a good way to put it from what I understand of the situation that happened on a server that I used to play on.
Mm-hmm.
Which we actually had one of their admins on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of exploded recently in drama, and I know that there's a lot of very it lends into toxicity in how servers have issues with that, and how admins often don't know how to handle toxicity in chat.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is you get a bunch of people being super toxic in chat. And by toxic, I mean like pointedly saying mean things to other people, or adding everybody on the server because they can to say they're leaving, or like a bunch of like just really awful things being said, and the admins don't always know how to handle that, which is not good for server health, or server stability. And like, can I be more specific? Do you want me to go into the actual drama? Or
yeah, you can go.
Okay, so from what I understand, it was Equinox that had a whole big drama explosion, with a bunch of people leaving the server all at once. And I'm not very well versed on their side of the story on this whole thing, but I am rather well versed on the other side of the story. And specifically, one of the person who we had on the podcast, Pixel, ended up leaving the server for reasons unknown. I don't know that part. I just know it was a catalyst for a huge, you know, a lot about it. Stormy knows a lot about it. I know, oops, sorry. I know a fair amount on one side. Yeah, I know one side of it, which is specifically the general chat in Discord exploded. Like and it was a lot of back and forths. It was people posting very publicly very rude things about other people, getting that message deleted because it was toxic, and then getting mad about that message getting deleted, and then leaving. There was a bunch of different people saying they were leaving. Yeah, I mostly know a bit more on the public side of what happened because I was on the Discord and I
Yeah.
was watching it
think-
happen in real time.
Yeah, I've watched implosions before in RP servers. I've watched it.
There's been a few I can think of.
I've watched, drama unfold, and I've watched people show off a sense of entitlement. And
Stormy whistles innocently, she says in chat. Yeah.
And speaking of, we have our guest Stormy now.
From last, yeah.
No, just kidding.
No.
There's definitely a lot of things that have the potential of going wrong, and there's definitely other things that sometimes do go wrong. When you have, yeah, your situation was pretty public.
It was pretty public, sorry.
When you have different personalities, you need different ways of dealing with issues, and no matter what, some people are not always going to go along with that, right? I think in the case of Stormy, she did her best to make it like amicable and respectful on her exit, and whether it surprised some people or not, then that's completely different. But there's people that wouldn't handle something like that, right? There's the people that are I'm leaving, and on my way out I'm gonna try to burn this place down.
Yes.
And we get that a lot in this community because unfortunately people, something that we all kind of have in common, I think, is that we as role players, we're dramatic. Like,
dramatic AF. Like, seriously though, we are just like the most, that's part of probably why we're more of a niche group, to be fair, because the people who really do the community we're aware of on roleplay tend to be very dramatic. Or not just like they're drama queens and kings. They are the people who want to act, and actors are dramatic.
Yes, exactly. But I think,
and we're all just technically actors.
We are, right? I think the problem ends up coming from the people that are very selfish, that have self-importance, that have a sense of entitlement or main character syndrome. These people tend to be the most problematic because if something doesn't go their way, then nothing is working, right?
And it also leads to out of character bleed. When something happens with their characters, the people who are more self-important to themselves tend to let that affect them a lot more out of character, which causes them to then say things out of character to rile up people or make their displeasure known.
Yeah. How many times can we say out of character in one show?
Out of character. Well, I mean, it's called out of character.
Right. We're going to make it a drinking game next episode.
Next episode, drinking game. I got some wine now.
Every time we say out of character, we take a shot.
Yes. It's just like stuff tends to bleed very easily. My liver can't.
It does. And it's unfortunate. I've never been a person to really let like RP or whatever get the best of me out of character. there are definitely like I'm not gonna exclude myself entirely. There are different things that have bothered me or annoyed me in a way that I feel like it could have been different or handled better.
I think part of the issue is, I think me and you are kind of on the same wavelength on this, M9. It's less the actual story, because both of us are, we roll with the punches pretty well when it comes to
Hmm.
the story. It's when things happen in a way that is out of characterly influenced,
Right.
like with the admin situations. When a story is being developed and you are trying to push with other people to develop it, and say you try to make something and you make it a big deal, but it's not enforced, it's not like helped along, it's not looked at, it gets ignored, you get pushed aside, things like that can be really the problem.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like there's been times that I've definitely had to put my OOC and and IC stuffs very separated
You just
because
cough after saying OOC.
um but like even when there's like somebody out of character or on Discord or anything like that that I'm having problems with or that I don't really like or I don't enjoy as a person, when I turn a game on and when I am that character, I think as my character, like this person doesn't have a problem with that person on Discord. Like,
Hmm.
like that's just the way that it is. Valen doesn't know anybody on Discord. like, um,
What? You don't know Discord, Bailey?
but some people can't do that. And
Hmm.
some people will definitely
It's
bring
it's
everything there is to
hard.
tape. It is
It
hard.
is
Yeah, it
hard
is hard.
to, if sometimes, especially when you're starting off and you're getting into role play, it's really easy to take something someone says in character and apply a filter to it and take it as though they're saying something
Hmm.
in character that they mean out of character. And it's not usually the case. Usually the character is just, being a dick, which people can play characters who are dicks, but it's hard to separate that.
It is, yeah.
And that's where you get a lot of the bleed and people being very, taking it to Discord, taking
Yeah,
it out of the roleplay.
and then like I've gotten messages before where they're like, "Are did I do something to piss you off, or like are you
Yeah.
upset at me?" And I'm like, "No, why?"
My
well,
character was having a weird day. Hi.
yeah, exactly. It was like, no, Valen's just annoyed or whatever, or he just tried to kill his girlfriend. Um,
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
but I think it's funny how like some people will immediately try to transfer that over to OC. Easily less than half of the RP community are able to separate. Yeah, and
It's
that's
true.
a shame.
Yeah.
It is really
Separate
a shame.
OC from in game, yeah. Because it's something that, especially when you're saying it out loud, I feel like it's a big problem. I think a lot of it is people often put a portion of themselves in their characters, so a slight in-game bleeds out of game and
Hmm.
vice versa. Yes. Putting That's why I like to play characters who aren't very much me.
Yeah, and we talked
Because
about
it's
that.
super easy to not take it personally when that's a completely different person.
We've touched on that several times,
Mhm.
as in like RPing 101, right? Some people would say when you first start off, try just playing something that's similar to you, so
Mhm.
you can get over the stage fright. Um, and it's a double-edged sword because anytime that you play something similar to you, you'll always take it personal.
Yes.
Um, if you're just being you and another character doesn't like you, it's gonna bother you. It's just the way that it is. Um, anytime that you're playing, you know, something extremely different, half orc or whatever, then you're separating yourself
Mhm.
from that. You're putting a wall between your character and yourself.
Which I think some people just need. It's hard to learn how to
Hmm.
put that wall, but it's something a lot of people should do. it's a fallacy to say that your character is entirely separate from you.
Hmm.
Every single person puts themselves into their character, everyone. Now, the difference is, well, this character has some of you in it, it's not you. Yeah, it's the
Hmm.
mental part of it. You're always going to bleed. There's always
Always.
going to be, I am, because it's still you talking, it's still you acting,
Mm.
it's still, you're still there.
And I think that's the huge difference when we think about the RP that we do now, or like text RP, something that we
Hmm.
can sit down and think before responding. I think there's a big difference when we have to instantly react, when we have to instantly give answers or respond a certain way.
Is something I have such a problem with. I play evil characters a lot in text RP because you can sit down and think about the evil thing and then go away and come back and like, okay, yeah, that's a little bit too much. I'll pull that back a little bit, or I need to add a little bit more into that.
Hmm.
And you can really like stop and ponder it. But when you're in the moment, you have to rely on what your brain is capable of saying in the moment.
Yeah, there's definitely been times that I've done something in game or whatever, and then I'd be like, "That's not how Valen would have reacted,"
Hmm.
and it's too late, like it was just me. I slipped through.
Yeah.
Um, but because I've been me longer than a character that I'm playing for a season, sometimes in that immediate reaction, it just comes out.
Yeah. And that's just like I don't play super evil characters in voice
Right.
because I know personally I have a hard time coming up with mean things to say in the moment. I could say them if I think it out and I type it, but like in
Yeah.
the moment it's it's scary to think of the evil things to say or deal with the consequences or
Yeah.
consequences are a hard one. People don't always like dealing with the RP consequences.
I mean, yeah, I think RP consequences is another uh reason there's drama.
Yes.
People want to get away with doing things. People don't want to deal with consequences. People
Mhm.
want um want to act and not be reacted towards. Um and that is a huge negative in roleplay.
Yeah. Alexo said, I applaud people that can actually play evil or mean characters. I would always be in fear of ruining someone's experience. I could play a jerk, but straight mean? No way. Yeah. Ruining
Mm,
someone's experience is a big fear. Like, because you could really, like, you never know how the person on the other side of the screen is going to react to
right.
something your character just said. Which is something you still have to take into account even when you separate your character. You have to remember that there's someone on another side of a screen
Right.
watching what you're doing and reacting to it as well.
But then we have the people that don't even think that way in real life. Like, there's people that will say shit and not consider the other person on the other end, right? So, like, why should they do it on a game, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks because you never know why that other person is RPing, right? Maybe they're trying to escape from like their daily routine. And then we have to obviously play our part because we can't control others. But if I'm being, Draven, right? Draven wasn't really a nice guy, but he wasn't mean either. He was indifferent about everyone. And I always try to kind of walk that line of being, like sassy and I don't really care about you, and the the like fuck you, I hate you, like
Yeah.
there's a big difference.
I like what Lovis said in chat there. There's a difference between playing your character and targeting / being malicious.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen in roleplay people who do target and don't realize it's a problem. And don't DM. Like what Alexa just said, that was totally RP man. They don't realize that they kind of need to take into account the added character impact that their character is doing. And they make a character that targets another character, which is
Mhm.
really hard to deal with in character as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it causes the drama, which is what we were originally talking about.
Yeah,
Which
there's
is when shit hits the
unfortunately
fan.
yeah, unfortunately there is so many means to land at drama. Um,
Yes.
because it because there's so many different personalities, and and anytime that you have creative people, because that's what we are, right? We're role playing, we're creating characters, we're storytellers. And anytime that you have somebody that's working against you or is giving you um some pushback or negative feedback or anything like that, it's gonna hurt, like no matter what you think, right? Because like you're trying to live your best creative life and tell a story. um and I think sometimes people hold it way too close to them, and it just ends up creating drama. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's not about the I don't think you can ever avoid there not being drama. It's about how you handle drama. Um, and I think some people don't handle it the best
No. And that's another thing you have to deal with, like people being able to handle drama.
way.
Because then you get people, especially when you get echo chambers of people who, out of character, are sitting in a Discord mad
Oh yeah,
about a situation, talking to each other about how they're mad about the situation.
yeah,
And, it causes some people to go, oh, I'm done. I'm going to leave. But I want one person to stay in the Discord so we can see what the impact of our leaving was.
yeah.
Which is, yeah. Hello. Welcome to the third stream. Well, we're talking about drama. Um, yeah, it's so prevalent, and I've seen it time and time and time again. Roleplay drama is often a death spiral once it goes OOC, because it gets into how people react to each other in character. And if you start getting the admin team doing that,
Yeah. Uh,
that's when the server starts to die.
yeah. So Stormy says, I'm not a decent person. Personally, when you log on to into an RP server, you're agreeing to the concept that you are a character who is interacting with other characters and not the player. And I'm not going to DM you and justify or apologize for an RP interaction. And honestly, I agree with that. Because I am in the same sentiment. Like that's where my mindset is, right? This is
I think
RP.
it's less about like the interaction and more. I've noticed specifically when you have a specific problem with a single person over and
Mm-hmm.
over again, that's when it starts to be like, are you targeting me for some other reason?
Yeah.
That's when it kind of starts to get. But like, if you have a bad, like your character's a jerk, you have an interaction with somebody, and you're gonna be, you don't need to DM them for that. Like,
Right, right. And I think like no matter where I've played before, I think I've always had a bit of a presence in Discord that people know my personality versus whatever character I'm playing. Um and I usually do that on purpose, like so that people know the kind of person that I am.
I'm so
Um
bad about talking in Discord these days. I
but
don't do it.
and even though I agree with what Stormy's saying, like I don't think that applies for a lot of people. I don't think that mindset. I don't think a lot of people go in with that same mindset. Um, they, they're under the delusion
Delusion.
that that they can do whatever they want, that they can say whatever they want, or they can have these interactions, and that it won't affect them in any way. And when you interact or when you respond a certain way, um, you'll see people's like true nature. You'll see people respond um, in a way that they honestly should have expected, right? Like, I always think back at like when I first moved from Game of Thrones to Conan Fantasy RP. Um,
Mhm.
and I always said I would love to play Game of Thrones on Conan, but the community that I was with, like Time of Origins and all of those people, I always said this community is not ready for Game of Thrones. Like, I literally just said it straight out. I'm like, everybody in this community is not ready for that type of RP, because
You have to
like
be at each other's throats in character.
you have to betray each other. It's the Game of Thrones. You have to be schemy. You like friendship RP is not like what comes out of Game of Thrones, you know? And
You really have to be okay with totally screwing over somebody you've been
yeah,
nice to.
yeah,
And that's
for your
really
own
hard
sake.
to do.
It is. And then not just that, but then there's also the aspect of the death is so important in Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Like
death is so hard.
death has a huge ripple effect in Game of Thrones. And like the Conan, you know, like I'm a fairy and like I can't die and like magic will always heal
I
me.
am a
That
15,000-year-old demon who, was here at the creation of the universe. Like my dad was. Yeah, it's difficult because Game of Thrones is definitely a lot more down to earth. You got humans,
Mhm.
and you got humans, and you have very serious
Yeah.
political drama, and you have to be okay with totally screwing over somebody else to get what you want.
Yeah.
And I don't see that. It's not a lot of that from what I could tell in Conan. At least I'm new to Conan. I haven't seen a lot of the I'm a screw your group over because I want something that your group has. Which, is
it
also a
just
problem
doesn't go
because I
well.
feel like Game of Thrones also ended up in a lot of drama death spirals.
No,
that
there's so
didn't
much toxicity. Let's be honest.
like,
There is
that bleeds
so
really
much
bad.
toxicity. But see, one of the things, like, and we had Circa on here a couple of episodes ago, right? And and Circa has been known for a long time to host Game of Thrones servers, and with like 80 plus people logging into them, right? And they've been they've been active, they've been successful, they've been dramatic, and they've been exhausted.
They also tend to die.
And they tend to die, and then they're reborn from the ashes. But the thing is that when you look at a community like the WRP community, they know what they are, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in there, which is kind of the why I've kept my distance a bit, right? Because everybody in there is like, they're in it for the toxicity. Like, they're just in it for that. They're in it to PvP. They're in it for the drama. They're in it for Game of Thrones. Like, that is what they are in it for. So as long as you know what you're getting yourself into, sometimes it's not as bad. But
but it also still leads to servers dying repeatedly.
It does.
Like,
it does.
people end up getting into some problem happening with something going on with either the admin team or a group getting so fixated on another group that they literally kick them off the server because they've targeted them too hard. Or there's so many things that happen with Game of Thrones. Like,
Yeah.
it has its own rule set for wars a lot of times because wars are so prevalent.
There's a lot, exactly, and there's a lot of restrictions, there's a lot of rules, and there's things that are necessary. Stormy says, I've missed the more serious non-god characters. Same, girl. I've recently applied to an Red Dead Redemption 2 RP server. I was playing on the TRP for a bit, and it was pretty great. However, it's so slow.
It's, from what I could, it's a
Oh my God.
completely different style of RP. You really have to slow down, do things on your own, hang out in towns and have really casual conversations for a really long time.
Like, for me, if you know me well, you know that I'm a screenshot whore. So a lot of the times I was just taking screenshots. And the
because that game's so pretty, though.
Yeah, that game is freaking gorgeous. And, like, most of the time I was riding around and I'm like, oh my god.
Look at this scene. The
Yeah,
light right now is great.
like
This horse is so nice.
this horse. Look at this
If you
horse.
ride
Look
the
at the
horse,
way
look at
the
the way
tail
it
moves.
rides. It feels heavy. It's great.
Like, I remember when I first started playing Conan, and like the animations and for like horses and stuff like that, I was like, oh my god, this is nice. And then I started
After
playing
figuring
Red
the
Dead,
art.
and I'm like, oh my god, this is
Well,
nice.
I watched a video about Red Dead, and the way they style their horses is literally with motion capture, like they do for like Smog and like in movies. Like they did that with a horse to get the Red Dead Redemption horse animations.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks so good.
Stormy, I don't know if you remember Ushi, but she's been playing for a while on Red Dead as well. I liked it a lot. It was nice, but it was like the opposite thing where like 5M is way too fast paced. Like everybody's just, you know, like they're all like millionaires in a week.
And they're doing the same thing over and over.
And they're
'cause
doing the same thing over. Yeah,
That's
just
all they have.
it's like
Bit.
the complete opposite in Red Dead, which for characters, I think it felt nice to like slow down and actually get to know people. But as far as like content, I'm like, there is not shit to do in this game.
I'm just gonna wander around for a while and hope I run into someone.
Yep.
It was a bit too slow for me. I tried it briefly on Red Dead. It's so different of a style. And you get some good moments for
Mhm.
sure. Like the longer you go at it, the more moments you get. And it builds up over time. But like Stormy said, she's been playing for almost a year. And that gives you good stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's going crazy.
No, you're right. Funny enough, we were talking about how we didn't really prepare a lot of topics for the show,
Nope. And we've
And
been
then-
going for an hour.
and we've been going for an hour just straight.
This is what
nonstop.
happens when me and we don't talk for like the rest of the week anymore. Like
Yeah, we'll just
we
decompress.
figure out what we're doing, and then we come back into the podcast with a lot to say because we didn't say anything else all week.
But to conclude, in summary, there is unfortunately not a lot going on in the RP community at the moment. Everybody seems to be grasping at straws for something good.
And when they can't find it, they start the drama.
And then when they can't get what they want, that's when
And then a
drama
new server
happens.
pops up saying,
Yeah.
I fixed all the problems that the other server had.
We
then
refuse
they
to be
think
like
we-
those other servers.
We aren't going to do what they did. Look at what we did differently to fix that issue. We're like, and then it does the exact same thing.
If they can't get drama IC, they get it LOC. Yeah.
Yep. It's literally like it's so cyclical, and that's why a new game would be so refreshing right now,
A new game.
because it would get a lot of the cyclical nature out.
Yeah, I think a new game that we can learn how to play together. So that it takes away from relying on just oh my god, Icarus, thank you for bringing that game up.
What is Icarus?
Sylvia, I have a friend that's been streaming Icarus almost every day. His name is The Gaming Savage, if anybody wants to check him out. It is a survival game, and he says there's like, you can have private servers and things like that. I'm not sure how much like content that games has, but it looks really nice. And he says it was made by the people that made was it DayZ? No. Was it? Or Rust? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm
Rust.
butchering that, but it is a survival game that it looks pretty damn good, and I've been watching him play, and I'm like, this could be an RP type of game. I just don't know, what kind of content you would create. in it.
A lot of it is you gotta also convince a lot of people to try.
That's the thing, right? Like,
That's
People get stuck on their
Nightingale, Sylvia.
ways.
Because like right now, you've got the 5Mers, you've got the Conaners, you've got the Arkers. Arc
Arcers.
has been Arkers. Arc has been slowly leaking into Conan. I've noticed lately.
Mm-hmm.
I've been noticing a lot more names that I recognize from Arc coming to Conan. But like you got like the big titles in this community that's a little bit more like tight knit. And Atlas.
Mhm.
Atlas is the other one. Yeah,
Atlas.
Atlas has a community as well, but they kind of
Yeah,
they mix.
that's just the thing though. Like there are small communities of Atlas Crest. Um, there are small communities in all different type of games. Like you could find RP communities. The
Yeah.
problem becomes is finding a big and good community, because you
Yes.
do have small groups of friends that will put together something. Like even I was playing Project Zomboid recently, and I did some RP. I started up my own server just to have people play that wanted.
Which join his Discord if you want to try join.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
But there's actually a pretty big server called I have it right here actually, Days End for Project Zomboid.
Is that the one with a lot of streamers on it though?
Yeah, probably.
Because I know that there is a roleplay one that's got a ton of big streamers on it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of people on that server. I wanted to join, but like their whitelisting process was way too complicated. I'm like, I'm good. I don't have the time. You know,
A lot of times that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. Oh, Eco, yeah. Actually, I could probably see about contacting someone who's big on Eco.
Yeah.
See if they'd be interested in
That'd be
joining
dope.
the podcast.
I've seen a few people play that.
I don't know. I'll tell you the name specifically, but I have someone I probably could talk to.
Nice.
Because there's a lot of RP on Eco. Eco is such a complex game.
That's just odd.
Old big RP streamers, yeah. Like you've got the house crew. You've got what's their new crew? It does get dry. I feel like they start new servers really quickly. From what I can tell, it's a lot of.
I think that there's also something to be said about that though. Like I think one of the good things about like Josh's servers, Circa, for those that don't know, is that he knew when to start over. Like he knew how long seasons should be, right? Like for Game of Thrones, it's like if you go several months playing in one season, that's gonna fail dramatically. So like he knew when to wrap something up, when to get new leaders, when
it
to.
had to do with the timing of things, how things were happening, and character keeping on top of that.
Have a good evening, Stormy.
Have a good evening, Stormy. You know, it's a lot of keeping an eye on what's happening on the server as well to know when to do that.
Yeah, because like one of the biggest problems that I had with Conan when I first started was, why the fuck is this season so long? Like,
I was on one that was like, why is this season so fast? And then the next season went way longer than it needed to go. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love a 3-month season. That feels weird for me.
I don't mind them being longer, but you have to keep things moving to keep it longer. There has to be a reason for it to be going long.
Yeah, we talked about doing it for a bit earlier, Sylvia.
You can't just have a season that goes for 3 months because we decided it's going to go for 3 months. It has to be like we had this plot line going and people are still interacting with it so heavily that we're going to keep the season going to keep it working. Until this plot line ends, we won't end the season.
Right.
That is the appropriate way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's also another game that people were doing RP on, and I actually bought it because a friend of mine invited me to play on an RP server, and I was like, there's RP in this game? And that's V Rising.
Oh, I bought it too, and I played it for about 3 seconds and went.
I played it, I think, for a day, and and I thought it was all right. Um, I just didn't see. It was like an RPG kind of mixed. Yeah, needs other people exactly, mixed
Uh,
with just like I don't know, and like an
there's
MMO.
there's something to be said about what we do as in our insular community about being able to go into first person.
Oh yeah. I
I
agree.
really feel like the group that is the 5M, the Conan, the Arc, the
You know what's
Atlas,
funny?
they're people who play games that you can go first person.
You know what's funny? The first thing that I did when I started playing V Rising was get a camera mod
Yeah,
that that
because the
allowed
camera
me.
was not great.
Yeah, that allowed me to go like a lower point of view. I don't think you could have gone first person. I'm not. I don't
It's
remember.
not 3D enough, I don't think, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that kind of like that style of game that is the style of Arc and Conan 5M
Mm-hmm.
that you're able to go third person and also first person that really attracts role players.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But but anyway, we can probably wrap things up.
Yeah, we can
The
keep going for another hour if we keep going, guys.
honestly, like we said, we're all just trying to find something to gravitate towards and just hold on to. Hopefully, with some of the newer games coming out this year, we'll get something good, and maybe
I'm
who
looking
knows?
forward to seeing what Dune's going to be like for sure.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to see what Dune's gonna do. Arc 2, um,
Maybe.
yeah, and seeing if it scratches that itch. I've also been really curious about maybe putting together a Skyrim server and playing that with people.
Skyrim server?
Yeah, with Skyrim with the Skyrim Together mod.
I've
Um,
never played Skyrim with people.
yeah, so that could be pretty
That's
cool. We all
interesting.
make like different type of characters. It'll be like D&D almost.
Almost. Yeah, that's interesting.
Multiplayer Subnautica, yeah, right? So many games that I'm like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
wish this was
That's
multiplayer.
kind of the feel is the community has drama because we're all kind of getting stale
We're
of the
bored.
games we're playing.
We're
We gotta
bored.
create shit so that we have something to talk about
Right.
because we need something to mix things up. And it really feels like there's such a good opening right now. If people know game developers for making a role play centric game, it would
Mhm.
succeed.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. It
Yeah.
was fun. I like being able to chat sometimes, not necessarily having a guest on, just kind of chit
Because me and
chatting.
M9 will go forever.
Oh yeah. And when I asked Nixie to co-host with me, I was like, perfect person because we can talk.
For way too
We
long.
can talk. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.